After weeks of intense combat, the United States and Iran have suddenly agreed to a 14-day temporary ceasefire. Iran is making an immediate, real-world concession, allowing safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz, while both sides prepare for high-stakes peace talks. Inside Iran, the newly installed supreme leader has ordered all military units to halt their fire, but he is broadcasting a specific warning to the public: the war is not over. The message out of Washington points to a vastly different reality. President Donald Trump announced the truce by describing the recent American campaign as an overwhelming, historic battlefield victory. So how did the United States force the total collapse of one of the largest militaries in the Middle East, pushing them to the negotiating table in exactly 40 days? The operation orchestrated by U.S. Central Command started at the top. They dismantled the enemy's operations by specifically targeting the high command. In rapid succession, the U.S. military eliminated the previous Iranian supreme leader, the commanders of the Revolutionary Guard, and the defense and intelligence ministers. This strategy left a newly installed and wounded regime entirely isolated. Without their top leadership, the Iranian forces were functionally uncoordinated and out of options. While Iran's chain of command collapsed, the United States executed this massive campaign with a highly asymmetrical casualty rate. Exactly 0 American lives were lost. Even when Iran managed to down 2 American pilots, they couldn't hold them. U.S. forces conducted a daring daylight run and a separate midnight raid right up the middle of the country to safely extract both pilots from the desert. Stripping away the top brass while proving American forces could operate deep inside Iranian territory with total impunity delivered the psychological blow that broke the regime's resolve. On the physical battlefield, Operation Epic Fury utilized less than 10% of America's total combat power to systematically erase Iran's conventional defenses. The Iranian Navy was pushed to the bottom of the sea. Their frigates, submarines, and prized drone aircraft carriers were entirely sunk. In the skies, the U.S. established absolute dominance by completely eradicating Iran's air force and dismantling their comprehensive air defense networks. Iran attempted a massive counteroffensive, launching hundreds of drones and one-way missiles. Every single shot was intercepted miles away, failing to even reach the American aircraft carrier. In under 6 weeks, the physical infrastructure of the Iranian armed forces was rendered entirely combat ineffective. As the active battlefield was neutralized, Operation Midnight Hammer focused on dismantling the regime's future threat capabilities. This shows the functional destruction of their nuclear program. Surviving materials are deeply buried and subjected to continuous 24/7 overhead surveillance. Following that, the U.S. launched a final wave of over 800 precision strikes exclusively targeting Iran's defense industrial base. By razing these factories to the ground, the U.S. ensured Iran no longer has the manufacturing infrastructure required to build new missiles, rockets, or UAVs. Destroying this supply chain guarantees the nation cannot realistically rebuild its military power for decades, locking them into a position of weakness. This brings us to the final strategic maneuver that secured the ceasefire: the calculated use of mercy as leverage. U.S. forces were locked and loaded to cripple the entire civilian economy, including power grids, bridges, and oil facilities. The president chose to spare those targets, specifically to give the battered regime a reason to accept the truce. This 40-day campaign was the promised U.S. retribution for 47 years of proxy attacks, shadow warfare, and embassy bombings. Now, both sides are preparing to settle the final terms of this agreement over the next 2 weeks in the city of Islamabad. The top brass is gone, the weapons factories are craters, and for the next 2 weeks, the Iranian regime must negotiate from a position of total military exhaustion.